In this video, I'm going to talk about layers and buttons and rigs. I think that's about it. And I'm trying this new thing where I'm recording the tutorials live, in a sense. Instead of recording my narration over, I've had some people tell me that it's too fast-paced. I'm trying to, if I do it live, maybe it's a little bit slower and easier to follow. But if we go over to the rig, we can check out the locomotion system. And the locomotion system for the Windows mixed reality. So in the newer package, whenever that gets uploaded, you have three rigs now: Windows Mixed Reality, Oculus, and the Vive. And on the Windows Mixed Reality, which is the only headset that I currently own, I have two. We can see that the locomotion system uses the secondary access input. And that secondary access is, for me, the joystick. So if we go down to the teleport, that also uses a secondary access 2D up. Versus the Vive and the Oculus, which, please correct me if I'm wrong, since I don't own one of these, I can't necessarily test it, is primary access. And for the Oculus, which is still the joystick, but it's the primary access. And on the Vive, the primary access is actually the touchpad. Right? And I need three different ones because the Vive is a little different since it's only a touchpad. It's using the click. So when the user clicks and then releases, that's going to teleport the player. Versus the Oculus and the Windows Mixed Reality, which are using the joystick. When you release the joystick, that's what's going to teleport you. So if you're on the Windows Mixed Reality, you could turn on this Vive one, and then all it's going to do is change the locomotion system to be using the touchpad versus the joystick. So that's the only difference between these rigs, is the locomotion input source. On the direct interactors, everything should be exactly the same. And what stays the same is the activation usage, which is trigger, which is like the gun, shooting the gun, and select usage is grip. So when you select means when you pick something up, that's select. I think the names are slightly confusing. And I also said I was going to talk about layers. I've had a question about the teleport system, and the teleport system, they've taken my teleport system and tried to use it elsewhere, and I now have a note added to the teleport. Maybe not. Maybe I don't. I do have it here and it says on layer mask, to avoid having to export Unity settings, teleport colliders are set to water. And you can see if we go down to the XR Ray interactor, we are on Raycast mask water. And if we go to the teleport colliders, that's on water. And again, that's to avoid having to export my layers, just in case somebody downloads my project and did not back up their project, and they imported this, didn't read the little pop-up box, and then now their tags and their layers are overwritten, and it's a bad day for them. I don't want to be that cause. So in my own personal project, if I was using this, I would definitely change the water to teleport. And that goes to the next item on the halberd, however you say this. We have something called Ignore Character Controller Collider. And that's going to prevent this long collider from colliding with the player. Because if you remove this, you're going to start flying every time you hit yourself. Same as the rifle. Ignore Character Controller. And again, if this was my own personal project, I would remove these most likely and make a layer for my weapons and make a layer for my player, right? So add layer, have a player weapon, and then I would also have a layer for my player hands because those have separate colliders. As I want the rifle to collide with my hands, but I don't want them to collide with the player. If you don't know how to set that up, you just create those layers, go over to physics, and then you can assign what collides with what here. All right, now let's bounce back over to buttons and rigs. Just in case these don't work for you and you need to figure out what buttons are the correct buttons for your controller. If we go over to Window down to Analysis, XR Interaction Debugger, and click Input Devices. You can see I have one controller turned on. I got my headset. You can see the headset I'm using. I have my right controller activated. So if I move around my joystick, you can see secondary 2D access. That's moving. Click on it. You can see true, false. Pull the trigger. And there we go. So you can see if you're using a different controller, different headset, you can figure out what's doing what right here. And when you change, if you just figure that out, whatever you need, now you can go back to the inspector, click on the rig, and set these up here. All right, so some of these have a little more customization, and I don't believe my scripts, yeah, I have them pretty basic at the moment. But if you do need other options and you're not necessarily an expert coder, you can go ahead and shoot me an email, and I will go ahead and spend the time I need to do, and actually fix this script. Same as the hands. If you need to change the grip button, change it here. And also the robot, you need to make the robot also use the same buttons, and this one does not have any options besides trigger and grip. And these will all get refactored most definitely when UnityXR comes out with the next release, which are going to have the new input system put into it. Hopefully, that's at least what they said. And then I will be going back and refactoring all of these scripts to use that system. And that's why I actually haven't spent the time to redo these, because I know I'm going to have to refactor them anyway. But that concludes today's video. And hopefully this answered most questions. If not, shoot me an email, leave me a comment, and I will get back as soon as possible.